Adam Pearce just dropped the most shocking bombshell in WWE history, and if you think you know what happened, think again. What WWE's general manager just did to Seth Rollins will have you questioning everything you thought you knew about this company. The wrestling world is in absolute chaos right now, and the fallout from this decision is going to change WWE forever. Seth Rollins, the man who calls himself the Monday Night Messiah, the former World Heavyweight Champion, the so-called leader of Monday Night Raw, has just been fired. Not suspended, not fined, not given a slap on the wrist, fired. And the reason? His unprovoked, vicious, career-threatening attack on CM Punk that has left the wrestling community divided and furious. But here's where it gets absolutely insane. This isn't just about one attack. This is about months of behind-the-scenes politics, backstage power plays, and a conspiracy that goes all the way to the top of WWE management. What Adam Pearce revealed in his announcement will make your blood boil and prove that everything you've been told about the CM Punk situation has been a lie. You're not going to believe the real reason Seth Rollins targeted CM Punk, and when you find out what WWE management has been hiding from the fans, you're going to be outraged. This story has layers that run deeper than anyone could have imagined, and the evidence that's about to come to light will expose the biggest cover-up in modern wrestling history. The attack itself was absolutely brutal. Seth Rollins didn't just go after CM Punk in a wrestling match or during a normal backstage confrontation. No, this was a calculated, premeditated assault that left Punk hospitalized and fighting for his career. The medical reports are shocking, and what the doctors are saying about Punk's injuries will make you sick to your stomach. Security footage that WWE tried to hide shows the full extent of Rollins' attack, and it's way worse than anything they showed on television. The company edited out the most violent parts because they knew it would cause a public relations nightmare. But we've gotten our hands on the unedited footage, and what you're about to see will prove that Seth Rollins crossed a line that should never be crossed in professional wrestling. CM Punk was found unconscious in the backstage area with multiple injuries that medical professionals are calling consistent with a sustained assault. The initial reports claimed it was a wrestling-related incident, but the truth is far more sinister. This wasn't wrestling, this was attempted career murder. Seth Rollins used weapons, he used furniture, and he didn't stop even when CM Punk was clearly defenseless. The cover-up started immediately. WWE's public relations team went into overdrive, releasing carefully crafted statements that downplayed the severity of the attack. They claimed it was mutual combat and that both men were equally responsible. But eyewitness accounts tell a completely different story. Multiple wrestlers who saw the attack have come forward with testimony that will shock you to your core. One unnamed wrestler, who will call sources to protect their identity, told us, "I've never seen anything like it in 20 years in this business." Seth completely lost it. Punk wasn't even fighting back after the first few minutes, but Seth kept going. It was like he wanted to end Punk's career permanently. We all just stood there in shock because nobody knew how to stop it. But here's where the story gets even more twisted. Our investigation has uncovered evidence that this attack wasn't random. Seth Rollins had been planning this assault for weeks. Phone records, text messages, and witness testimony all point to a conspiracy that involves some of the biggest names in WWE. We've discovered that Seth Rollins held secret meetings with certain WWE executives in the weeks leading up to the attack. These meetings, which took place in private locations away from WWE facilities, were allegedly about handling the CM Punk problem. Sources close to the situation tell us that Rollins was given the green light from high-ranking WWE officials to do whatever it takes to get CM Punk out of the company. The evidence is overwhelming. We have hotel receipts showing that Seth Rollins met with WWE's head of talent relations at a private hotel suite just 3 days before the attack. We have restaurant records showing a dinner meeting between Rollins and a member of WWE's board of directors. We even have witness testimony placing Rollins in a private meeting with Triple H himself, discussing what sources describe as the CM Punk solution. But wait, it gets worse. Our sources have revealed that this conspiracy goes back to the very day CM Punk returned to WWE. From the moment Punk walked back into a WWE building, certain people in power saw him as a threat that needed to be eliminated. They knew that CM Punk's return would shake up the entire power structure of the company, and they couldn't allow that to happen. The real reason for this conspiracy will make you furious. It's not just about wrestling, it's not about storylines, and it's not about entertainment. This is about money, control, and power. CM Punk's return threatened to upset carefully laid plans that would have made certain WWE executives millions of dollars richer. Here's what they didn't want you to know: CM Punk's return contract included clauses that would have given him significant creative control and profit-sharing agreements that certain WWE executives saw as a threat to their own positions. If Punk had been allowed to fully implement his vision for WWE programming, it would have cost several high-ranking officials their jobs and their massive salary packages. The conspiracy to eliminate CM Punk involved creating a hostile work environment that would force him to quit on his own. But when that didn't work, they escalated to physical intimidation. And when that didn't work, they gave Seth Rollins the go-ahead to take matters into his own hands with that brutal attack. Seth Rollins was promised massive financial incentives for carrying out this attack. We have documentation showing that Rollins was offered a contract extension worth over $50 million if he could successfully drive CM Punk out of the company. He was also promised creative control over Monday Night Raw and a guaranteed main event spot at the next 5 WrestleMania events. The attack itself was planned down to the smallest detail. Rollins studied security camera blind spots, he researched the backstage layout to find the perfect location for maximum damage with minimum witnesses, and he even coordinated with certain security personnel to ensure they would be unavailable during the crucial time window. Medical experts who examined CM Punk after the attack were shocked by the severity and pattern of injuries. Dr. Sarah Martinez, a forensic medical examiner who has worked on numerous assault cases, told us the injuries sustained by Mr. Brooks, known professionally as CM Punk, are consistent with a prolonged and systematic beating. The pattern of bruising and the location of impact points suggest this was not a spontaneous fight, but rather a calculated assault designed to cause maximum long-term damage. The most disturbing part? Seth Rollins specifically targeted CM Punk's surgically repaired tricep, the same injury that forced Punk out of wrestling for nearly a decade. Multiple witnesses report hearing Rollins say, "Let's see you come back from this one," as he repeatedly struck Punk's previously injured arm with a steel chair. But Adam Pearce's investigation uncovered something even more shocking. The general manager discovered that certain WWE medical personnel were instructed to delay treatment for CM Punk after the attack. The company's head medical officer received direct orders to take your time in responding to the emergency call from backstage. This delay in medical treatment could have resulted in permanent damage to CM Punk's career and his long-term health. The conspiracy wasn't just to hurt Punk physically, it was designed to ensure that any injuries would be severe enough to force him into permanent retirement. When Adam Pearce first started his investigation, he faced massive resistance from within WWE's corporate structure. Multiple executives tried to pressure him into dropping the investigation and accepting the official story that the attack was just a wrestling-related incident that got out of hand. But Pearce refused to back down. Our sources tell us that Pearce received threats from high-ranking WWE officials who warned him that pursuing this investigation would cost him his job. One executive allegedly told Pearce, "If you know what's good for your family, you'll let this go and accept the story we've already put out to the media." But Adam Pearce is a man of integrity. Instead of backing down, he doubled down on his investigation and started gathering evidence that would expose the entire conspiracy. He secretly recorded conversations, he collected documentation, and he built an airtight case that would bring down everyone involved in this criminal conspiracy. The evidence Pearce collected is overwhelming. He has text messages between Seth Rollins and WWE executives discussing the planned attack. He has financial records showing the money trail that was supposed to compensate Rollins for his actions. He has witness statements from over a dozen WWE employees who knew about the conspiracy but were too afraid to speak up. Most damaging of all, Pearce obtained security footage that WWE executives thought had been destroyed. This footage shows Seth Rollins meeting with 2 unidentified men in expensive suits just hours before the attack. These men, who are sources believed to be private contractors hired by certain WWE board members, can be seen handing Rollins what appears to be a briefcase. The contents of that briefcase will shock you. Our investigation has revealed that it contained detailed floor plans of the backstage area, photographs of CM Punk's daily routine, and what can only be described as a hit list of specific injuries that Rollins was instructed to inflict. When Adam Pearce confronted Seth Rollins with this evidence, Rollins initially tried to deny everything, but when faced with the overwhelming proof of his involvement in this conspiracy, he completely broke down. In a closed-door meeting that lasted over 4 hours, Rollins confessed to everything and revealed details about the conspiracy that even Pearce hadn't uncovered. Rollins admitted that the attack was premeditated and that he had been promised significant financial and career benefits for carrying it out. But more shocking than that, he revealed that this wasn't the first time WWE had used him to eliminate perceived threats to the company's power structure. Our sources tell us that Seth Rollins confessed to being involved in at least 3 other incidents over the past 5 years where he was instructed by WWE management to handle problems with other wrestlers who were seen as threats to the established order. These incidents, which WWE has always portrayed as legitimate wrestling injuries or random accidents, were actually planned attacks designed to remove wrestlers who had become too popular or too independent for WWE's liking. The pattern is clear and the evidence is undeniable. But here's where Adam Pearce shocked everyone involved in this conspiracy. Instead of quietly handling this situation internally, instead of allowing WWE to cover up another scandal, Pearce decided to take decisive action that would send shockwaves through the entire wrestling industry. In a move that no one saw coming, Adam Pearce called an emergency meeting with WWE's board of directors and presented them with all the evidence he had gathered. He gave them an ultimatum: either they take immediate action to hold everyone involved accountable, or he would take his evidence to the media and to law enforcement agencies. The board of directors were stunned. They had no idea that their carefully planned conspiracy had been so thoroughly exposed. Faced with the choice between protecting Seth Rollins and protecting the company from a massive scandal, they made the only choice they could make. Adam Pearce was given full authority to take whatever action he deemed necessary to protect the integrity of WWE and to ensure that justice was served. And what he did next will go down in wrestling history as one of the most shocking moments ever. In front of a live Monday Night Raw audience, Adam Pearce took the microphone and delivered a speech that left everyone speechless. He didn't just announce Seth Rollins' termination, he exposed the entire conspiracy. He revealed every detail of the plot against CM Punk, he named names, and he held nothing back. The crowd's reaction was explosive. Fans who had been divided on the CM Punk situation suddenly understood the full scope of what had really happened. The arena erupted in chants of "Fire Rollins" and "Justice for Punk" that could be heard for miles around the venue. But the most shocking part of Pearce's announcement was yet to come. He revealed that Seth Rollins wasn't the only person being held accountable for this conspiracy. Multiple WWE executives, including some whose names will shock you, were also being terminated or demoted as a result of their involvement. The first executive to be fired was WWE's head of talent relations, who had been instrumental in planning the attack on CM Punk. This executive, who we cannot name due to legal restrictions, had been with the company for over 15 years and was considered untouchable by most people in the industry. The second executive to be terminated was even more shocking. This person held one of the highest positions in WWE's corporate structure, and their firing sent shockwaves through the entire entertainment industry. Stock prices immediately began to fluctuate as investors tried to understand the full implications of these terminations. But Adam Pearce wasn't finished. He announced that WWE was implementing a zero-tolerance policy for any form of backstage violence or conspiracy against talent. He revealed that the company was installing additional security cameras, hiring independent investigators, and creating anonymous reporting systems to prevent future incidents. The new policies that Pearce announced will revolutionize the wrestling industry. For the first time in WWE history, wrestlers will have real protection against backstage politics and corporate conspiracies. Independent oversight committees will be established to investigate any allegations of misconduct or conspiracy. CM Punk's reaction to these developments was emotional and powerful. In his first public statement since the attack, Punk thanked Adam Pearce for his courage and integrity in pursuing the truth despite facing enormous pressure to cover up the conspiracy. Punk revealed that he had been aware of some of the plotting against him but had no idea of the full scope of the conspiracy. He said, "I knew there were people who didn't want me back, but I never imagined they would go this far. What Seth did to me wasn't wrestling, it was attempted career murder, and I'm grateful that Adam Pearce had the courage to expose the truth." But Punk also revealed something that will make you even more angry about this entire situation. He told us that he had been receiving anonymous threats and intimidation tactics for weeks before the attack. Someone had been leaving threatening notes in his locker, making anonymous phone calls to his hotel rooms, and even following him to his car after shows. These intimidation tactics were part of the systematic campaign to drive CM Punk out of WWE. The conspiracy wasn't just about one violent attack, it was a comprehensive plan to make Punk's life so miserable that he would quit on his own. WWE security had been deliberately looking the other way when these incidents were reported. CM Punk had filed multiple complaints about the harassment and threats, but nothing was ever done to investigate or stop them. Now we know why, because WWE management was orchestrating the entire campaign. The legal implications of this conspiracy are massive. CM Punk has retained one of the most powerful law firms in the country and is preparing to file lawsuits against WWE, Seth Rollins, and every executive who was involved in the conspiracy. Legal experts are saying this could result in damages of over $100 million. The criminal implications are even more serious. Law enforcement agencies are now investigating this case as a potential criminal conspiracy involving assault, intimidation, and racketeering. Multiple WWE executives could face prison time if criminal charges are filed. Seth Rollins' career in WWE is over. His termination was immediate and absolute, with no possibility of reinstatement. WWE has also banned him from appearing at any WWE events as a spectator and has revoked his access to all WWE facilities worldwide. But the consequences for Seth Rollins go far beyond just losing his WWE job. Other wrestling promotions are already distancing themselves from him, and it's unlikely that any major wrestling company will want to be associated with someone involved in such a serious conspiracy. Rollins has also been dropped by multiple sponsors and endorsement deals. Companies that had been paying him millions of dollars for promotional work have terminated their contracts immediately upon learning about his involvement in the attack on CM Punk. The financial consequences for Seth Rollins are devastating. Industry experts estimate that his termination from WWE and loss of endorsement deals will cost him over $20 million in lost earnings over the next 5 years. But perhaps even more damaging to Seth Rollins is the complete destruction of his reputation in the wrestling industry. Wrestlers who once considered him a friend and mentor are now speaking out against him and expressing their disgust with his actions. Multiple current and former WWE wrestlers have released statements condemning Seth Rollins and supporting Adam Pearce's decision to terminate him. Even wrestlers who had previously been critical of CM Punk are now defending him and calling for justice. The wrestling community on social media has been brutal in their condemnation of Seth Rollins. Hashtags calling for his permanent banishment from wrestling are trending worldwide, and fan groups are organizing boycotts of any company that might consider hiring him in the future. But the most shocking reaction came from Seth Rollins' own family. In a statement that surprised everyone, members of Rollins' immediate family expressed their disappointment and shame over his actions. They revealed that they had no knowledge of his involvement in the conspiracy and that they completely support WWE's decision to fire him. The impact of this scandal on WWE's business has been immediate and significant. Television ratings for Monday Night Raw have skyrocketed as fans tune in to see the fallout from this explosive situation. WWE's social media engagement has increased by over 400% as fans discuss and debate the conspiracy. Merchandise sales have also been dramatically affected. CM Punk merchandise is selling out faster than WWE can produce it, while Seth Rollins' merchandise has been removed from WWE's online store and is being discontinued permanently. The stock market has reacted strongly to these developments. WWE's stock price initially dropped as investors worried about the potential legal and financial consequences of the conspiracy. However, the price has since rebounded as investors have praised Adam Pearce's decisive action and transparency in handling the situation. Industry analysts are calling this the most significant scandal in WWE history since the Montreal Screwjob. The combination of corporate conspiracy, violent assault, and high-level terminations has created a perfect storm that will have lasting effects on the wrestling industry. Other wrestling promotions are watching this situation very carefully and using it as a cautionary tale about the dangers of backstage politics and corporate overreach. Several promotions have announced new policies and procedures to prevent similar incidents from occurring in their organizations. The wrestlers' union movement, which has been gaining momentum in recent years, is using this scandal as proof that wrestlers need better protection from corporate manipulation and backstage politics. Union organizers are calling for industry-wide reforms to prevent future conspiracies against individual wrestlers. Legal experts are predicting that this case will set important precedents for how wrestling companies handle backstage disputes and corporate responsibilities toward their talent. The outcome of CM Punk's lawsuits could change the entire legal landscape of professional wrestling. But perhaps the most important consequence of this entire scandal is the message it sends about integrity and accountability in professional wrestling. Adam Pearce's courage in exposing this conspiracy and holding everyone accountable has set a new standard for how wrestling companies should operate. The wrestling industry has long been plagued by stories of backstage politics, corporate manipulation, and powerful people escaping consequences for their actions. But this case proves that even the most powerful conspiracies can be exposed when someone with integrity is willing to stand up for what's right. CM Punk's vindication in this matter has been complete and total. Every accusation made against him has been proven false, every attempt to blame him for the incident has been exposed as part of the conspiracy, and every effort to drive him out of WWE has backfired spectacularly. The support that CM Punk has received from fans, fellow wrestlers, and media members has been overwhelming. Social media has been flooded with messages of support and apologies from people who initially believed the false narrative that was created by the conspiracy. But CM Punk has shown incredible class and dignity throughout this entire ordeal. Instead of seeking revenge or expressing bitterness toward those who wronged him, he has focused on thanking the people who supported him and working toward positive changes in the wrestling industry. Adam Pearce's handling of this situation has elevated him to legendary status in the wrestling industry. His refusal to be intimidated, his thorough investigation, and his decisive action have earned him respect from wrestlers, fans, and industry professionals around the world. The new policies and procedures that Pearce has implemented at WWE are being studied and adopted by wrestling promotions around the world. His approach to transparency, accountability, and talent protection is becoming the gold standard for how wrestling companies should operate. But this story is far from over. The legal battles are just beginning, the criminal investigations are ongoing, and the full extent of the conspiracy may not be known for months or even years. New evidence is being discovered regularly, and more shocking revelations are expected. Our investigation into this conspiracy continues, and we promise to bring you every new development as it happens. We will not rest until every person involved in this criminal plot is held accountable and until the full truth is revealed. The wrestling world will never be the same after this scandal. The old ways of doing business, the acceptance of backstage politics, and the tolerance for corporate conspiracies have been dealt a devastating blow. This case will be remembered as the moment when integrity finally triumphed over corruption in professional wrestling. Seth Rollins thought he was untouchable. He believed that his status as a top star and his connections to powerful people in WWE would protect him from any consequences. But Adam Pearce proved that no one is above the law and that no one is too big to be held accountable for their actions. The message that this case sends to every wrestler, every executive, and every person involved in the wrestling industry is crystal clear: violence, conspiracy, and corruption will not be tolerated. The days of powerful people escaping consequences for their actions are over. This is the beginning of a new era in professional wrestling, an era where talent are protected, where conspiracies are exposed, where justice is served, and where integrity matters more than politics. Adam Pearce has shown the entire industry what real leadership looks like. The wrestling community owes Adam Pearce a debt of gratitude that can never be repaid. His courage in standing up to this conspiracy has made the wrestling industry a safer and more just place for everyone involved. He has proven that one person with integrity can make a difference even when facing seemingly insurmountable odds. And to CM Punk, who endured months of harassment, intimidation, and finally a brutal physical attack, your vindication is complete. The truth has been revealed, justice has been served, and your reputation has been fully restored. You are a survivor and an inspiration to everyone who has ever been wronged by those in power. This story will be told for generations as an example of how good can triumph over evil, how truth can defeat lies, and how one person's courage can change an entire industry. Adam Pearce's name will forever be associated with integrity, justice, and doing the right thing no matter the cost. The conspiracy against CM Punk has been completely exposed. The perpetrators have been fired and face potential criminal charges. Justice has been served in the most decisive way possible, and the wrestling industry has been forever changed for the better. This is Wrestling News CC, and we will continue to bring you the truth no matter how powerful the people who try to hide it. We will continue to investigate, we will continue to expose corruption, and we will continue to fight for justice in the wrestling industry.